welcome to the BetterU podcast, where we go in depth and get to listen to stories of hope, strength, and courage straight from some of the leading health, fitness, and wellness experts who help transform lives one person at a time. I am your host, RKaye, and today we have another solo episode for you guys. Now, to be frank with all of you, I do not really know where this episode is gonna go. Simply because, well, a lot of the solo episodes have been like that, right? So it's pretty much me doing my very best to really share with all of you the current trends in the fitness industry or the current things that happen, especially with fitness online. And speaking of fitness online, today we will delve and discuss a little more about fitness and how it has really transformed through the past couple of years, mainly because of one thing: the pandemic. And yeah, coming from my very own experience, that has been something that a lot of people have been getting into. And it seems to me that at a certain point in time, including myself, there have been a little doubt whether fitness could actually really be done online, because personally, as a coach, as a trainer, everything pretty much when it comes to the fitness industry, it's mostly really it's something very personal, and it's something that a lot of us in the industry, especially when the pandemic hit, we were all really kind of thinking if it'll work out, transferring everything online. Is it gonna really work or will it not? Because a lot of us really strive or thrive in a personal relationship with a client or members. And when I mention that, that basically means that we are very used to an environment where we are actually within the midst of people, for the lack of term, right? So it was questionable to really integrate everything that's in person in terms of training. Can we really do it online? And frankly, when I began my own journey of moving my own career, at least online, it was a bit of a struggle, because in its entirety, let's be true and honest, the online world is a vast universe. And there's just so many different coaches out there. And so if you're someone, during that time, I was someone who literally had zero knowledge of what I had to do to make things happen. And so for me, beginning my journey, or looking back at the beginning of my journey, what I really strived, or what really drove me to push myself and kind of motivate myself to have that initial response of really, okay, we really need to do this, and you got to try at least, right? So for me, what drove me is the thought that I couldn't help people. I know it's cliche. I know it's something that, oh, you want to help people. Like everyone wants to say, or everyone says that. but how do you do it? And so for me, during the time being stuck at home and not really having the capacity to go out there and interact with people, because it was a no-no during the time, right? So for me, what I told myself was the best way for me to really tune into and kind of like get myself ready for the online world as a coach and as a trainer was to share what I knew through the very basic places that people share information. And these days, one of the best ways really to share information is to share it through your online spaces or your social media spaces. And that's where I really began the journey. Of course, a lot of us know about Instagram and Facebook, and that's pretty much where I started. I had my own Instagram account, and that's really where I concentrated a good amount of the information that I wanted to share, because as a coach, that's your main goal. Your main goal, whether it's online or in person, that's what you want to share. You want to share the knowledge that you know to help people reach their goals. And that to me was one of the first steps that I really took, and that was something that was comfortable for me. And as I tried to really learn more about how to do my best and to really compose information that would be short but really relevant to a lot of people who get to see my page, there was also the need for me to really not just share information. I also really wanted to focus on the main essence of fitness, which is movement. And to me, I always stick with that term instead of exercise, because I truly believe that a lot more people are turned off by that term exercise. And because even myself, when I tell myself, okay, I wake up in the morning and I tell myself, okay, you gotta train. To me, that's my term, train. When I say exercise to myself, I'm like, no. So I do get that sentiment. That's why I have always stuck with the term movement. And that's why hence the name of my channel, of my pages, RKaye, me, Moves Daily, because I really wanted to ensure that people would have that opportunity to take like a very quick moment in their day to see what I've shared, and if it's applicable to them, well and good. If it's not, then maybe the next day's movement will be something that's more relevant to what they're trying to do. To me as well, one of the main goals was not really to push people in a way that, I'm not really into that tendency of quote unquote, motivating in a sort of bullying way, kind of, which we'll probably have like a different episode of that. But there are some coaches out there who, whether they choose to accept it or not, they do have that certain aura to them where they don't really motivate you to motivate you from within. It's kind of a really it's a type of obey me type of motivating aura. Truthfully, I am not that way. Maybe some of you could get the opportunity to talk with people I've worked with. I'm not pushy. Okay, maybe that's a thing that's reserved for some other coach, but for me, I do my best to respect the people that I get the opportunity to interact with. And so, where am I going here? Well, like I told you guys, teaching and coaching online is something that um there's a very thin line between, you know, having the opportunity to really get to elaborate and explain yourself fully. I think that online it makes things a little more impersonable, even if you have people like face to face on camera. There's still that barrier. To me, that's one of the things that I believe people don't appreciate about online training, is that we get to talk to the people, we get to interact. You see me, I see you, but there's still that, one thing that's kind of missing, right? So, human contact is very much different when you do it online. And so, to ease to ease that issue, a lot of coaches do many live training sessions when you get to work with them. And that was one of the solutions that many of the coaches really did stumble upon. To me, I started my journey not doing live classes because I wasn't comfortable with them yet. So what happened is I began recording videos to demonstrate many of the training that I did. And right now, while I'm recording, I have a little munchkin over here. Okay, I'm recording here, little girl. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So there's many issues that are underlying when it comes to online training, and as I mentioned, that's one of the things that many people feared. It's like, when I do online training, is it going to be the same when I had a coach in person? And again, as I mentioned, one of the solutions of many coaches was to, number one, okay, if the time that we have or the time that I'm available to train you is not a perfect time for you to train with me, then we'll go with a pre-recorded video. But if our schedules match, we'll go and do a live video. So those are options for online training. If some of you are looking into getting your own coach and doing it online, those are some of the key elements that normally would happen. A lot of people, of course, do not, or are really also afraid of doing online coaching because of, again, as I mentioned, there's so many coaches out there that I too have had experiences where, I will also want to find a particular coach, not just, it's not just in the fitness industry as well. There's also a lot of different other coaches out there. You have your wellness coaches, a nutrition coach, you have a mindset coach. So there's many other coaches. And I'm generally talking about when you want to work with someone, let them be your coach. A good trick, or something that I have myself experienced, is if you really, really want to work with a coach, number one thing that you should always look into is not the popularity of the coach. Okay, look into the the content pretty much that they share. And if you feel that coach, if you feel it in your bones, that coach is someone that you can relate on. And listen to this, because I think this is this is going to be a key component to choosing a coach, okay? If you can see that person to be someone that you can get to talk to on a level as a friend, then that could be a great opportunity for you to invest in that coach. And I'm saying that because a good amount of people that I've worked with are actually, or eventually do, become a good friend of mine. And so I think the only reason for them to really stay with you as your coach is if you have that type of relationship. And what do people who are friends have that makes the whole interaction longer or stay longer? It's when you're friends with them and you trust them and you have that certain vibe together. So if you are looking for an online coach, if you would like to enroll into a program, be sure to have that kind of thinking when you want to choose. Some people are like really starstruck and they're like, oh, this coach is so popular, I want to work with them. The bad side about that is that a good amount of very, very popular coaches are just that. They're just popular. Okay? They could be popular in a way that they're very, very good, but you won't really get the opportunity to work with them because they're fully booked. Or they're very, very popular. They tell you they want to work with you, but they leave you hanging because they are very busy, very, very popular. And the third is there's certain people who get popular and then you pretty much learn eventually that they're pretty bogus. So there's those certain aspects, and I'm telling you, I'm promoting the smaller businesses of coaches out there, okay? Yeah, shameless plug, haha. But yes, take the opportunity to work with people who really have that certain vibe that you know you can relate with. That's the initial step, I believe. Don't look at the, you'll eventually look at the credentials, if they're really experienced and if they can really, achieve the goals that you want to achieve. But initially, that's what you like, all right? So again, going back to online training, and as we talk about it, try to piece out all the different issues that many people really want to think about or really get to think about when online training is mentioned. Another thing that was really crucial for me moving from online training to, from in-person training to online training, is that many people always believe in that image, or they can never really remove that image where they can work out at any time or that they can work out anywhere. All right. So the convenience factor is a great thing when it comes to online training. But a lot of people have their doubts when that comes to mind, because many think that, oh, when I'm at home, I feel sluggish, I just want to go to bed and rest. I get that. I myself have experienced that. But there are certain tricks to the trade Of course, when you do online training, especially when you work with a coach, they will always tell you make sure to grab up a space in your home, and you have to really allocate that space, whether it has small equipment, no equipment whatsoever. Allocate that space. Make sure to tell yourself and really have that mindset that this space is where I do my training, where I do my workout, whether my coach is here or I'm looking at the pre-recorded videos that I have to follow. This is my space. And you really got to schedule it out of your day. Now, you'll probably be telling me, well, that's not very convenient, right? But that's the thing. Online training is much like when you go to a gym. All right. You got to really be committed to the habit of it. Okay. And it only becomes a habit if you do it consistently. Now, if you do it like once a week, that's your commitment, once a week. You do it twice, thrice, every day, as long as you keep to that commitment and you don't break it, you eventually have or develop the habit of doing the training that you want to continuously do. And I know for a fact a lot of people question themselves like, I don't think it's something that I could do. But when you have a coach and that coach is always there to support you, which is a good deal of time, every online training is that way, you get to that point. So it won't really matter where you train, whether you have equipment or not, because your coach will be there. It doesn't matter if it's pre-recorded or a live training. Your coach will be there to really facilitate and motivate and keep you accountable. And that's one of the other things that's really something that you have to look into when you go through an online training program. All right. You know, many people get scared of online training or training without physically having their coach with them to guide them. Many are scared of that because they feel like, you know, okay, I enroll, I do it on my own, but I didn't really do it, kind of deal. And accountability is something that is also earned through time. But a lot of us coaches are really there for you guys. So I myself included, if I am your coach, there would be certain times of the week, particular times in the day. It depends on the program as well, of course. But if you're working with a coach, accountability is something that we always ask of our peeps, of our own coaching families. All right. So it's something that I know for a fact many people are still off to really get into. But online training is that, you know, it makes everything more comfortable for you. If you're a very busy individual, it's something that you can get into that will ensure that you get to do the training, because you can adjust it at any time, at anywhere you are. The convenience is the number one thing for online training. And so, yeah, that is those are the many different ideas that circle around online training. There's good, there's bad sides to it. I probably should make another solo episode for online training because there are many factors that do get involved. There's many questions that people raise, and what I told you and what I shared with you in today's episode are just some of the little tidbits of worries and anxieties that people really think about when they're told, like, oh, are you busy? You can't go to the gym? Well, online training is something that a lot of people do, so you should do it. But again, it's not something that a lot of people are immediately comfortable with because, of course, again, there's so many factors that would also come up in your own personal life that may not be something that will adjust to an online training course. And that's fine. Online training is another option for you if you really want to consistently be physically active, if you want to increase your health and fitness. It's something you can look into, but not everyone can really appreciate it, and not everyone really is comfortable with it. But I can tell you that a lot with the many online coaches out there who have shown that their own clients are really getting the progress that they want, even if they train apart from their trainer. That in itself is already good evidence that it does work. Okay? But again, it can be for you, or maybe it won't be for you. So it really will take, like doing in-person training, it will take a bit of time for you to really think up or get your mind into it. Again, many of the training programs, doesn't matter if it's online or in person, if your mind is not into it, if your heart is not into it, then it won't really work out 100%. Okay, guys? So today, I bid you adieu, but not before, of course, I remind all y'all to continue watching the BetterU podcast, okay? All of the previous episodes are on the YouTube channel, all right? And if you would like to get to talk with me personally, you can always message me in any of my social media accounts. I will leave all of those wonderful details in the description box below. And as always, Coach RKaye here, reminding you to never give up on your movement journey because it's never too late to move. Bye-bye, guys. See you again next week.